The teenage millionaire drug lord who outsmarted cartels. Interesting. Very interesting. This is some informative shit. We're going to get straight into it. Now, this cartel shit, do not fuck with these niggas. Let's be honest. The teenage millionaire drug lord, though? So he was another Pablo or something?
It's 2015, 3 a.m. in Germany. A police car rushes through empty streets. On the seat next to him, a strange package from the mail center. At first, it looked normal, but the return address didn't match any real name. He opened it. Inside were gummy bears and a note. But beneath that innocent surface, ecstasy, LSD, and cocaine. Illegal substances. They could have seized it, but instead, they let it keep moving, straight to the parcel locker. The plan was simple. Watch the drop-off, catch the buyer, and follow the trail back to the source.
Right.
So officers moved into position. Two were hiding behind a parked car across the street. Another watched from a delivery van down the block. They waited. It was about to get dark. But then, finally, someone showed up. He walked up to the locker, took one last look around, then reached out to open it. But something stopped him. The officers were confused. Why did he stop? The man wasn't moving, just standing there. It looked like he was staring at the locker, but something was off.
He knew.
And then they realized, in the metal reflection of the locker, he saw them, the police. Suddenly, he started running as fast as he could. Officers jumped into action, chasing him through the streets, thinking they were about to stop a drug empire before it even started. What they didn't know was that they were already too late.
Why?
Over 300 packages, just like that one, were already on the move. It looked like the work of a big criminal team.
Right.
No way it was all run by some teenager in his bedroom, right? This is the story of Shiny Flakes.
Shiny Flakes?
In 2013, on a Friday night in Leipzig, students were partying hard, celebrating the end of school. Loud music, drinks everywhere.
Right.
Everyone was having the time of their life.
Right.
Everyone except Max. Just a few streets away, Max sat alone in his room, eyes locked on his computer screen. While his classmates made memories, he was talking to a stranger on the dark web who went by the name Dummes Schwein.
Not much. I was just on Silk Road. It's crazy. You know it? Here's a link. Don't click that. Silk Road. What is Silk Road?
Max was still a teenager when he first found Silk Road. A secret website where you could buy anything. Illegal drugs, fake IDs, hacking tools, all just a few clicks away. Max started exploring. He was shocked, but also curious. The site looked messy. The photos were blurry. Some sellers couldn't even spell. But one thing stood out. People were making serious money. So Max started reading the reviews. Hundreds of listings, thousands of ratings, endless comments. Max wasn't just clicking around anymore. Now, he had questions.
Right.
Big ones. He found forums where people shared it all. Prices, delivery tricks, and ways to stay invisible. This wasn't just about websites. It was real business talk. How much dealers paid for a gram, and how much they sold it for. Max was shocked. Sometimes the price doubled or even tripled. He realized the idea of Silk Road was brilliant, but the execution, not so much. Max believed he could do it better. Cleaner, faster, smarter. While others just browsed, he studied every detail. To stay hidden, he learned how to use Bitcoin. He studied everything about staying anonymous, but he didn't rush. At first, he made a few small orders to learn more about the system. He watched it all. Delivery times, packaging tricks, every little detail mattered. But then, something big happened. Silk Road was gone, shut down by the FBI. To Max, that wasn't the end.
So it was basically like a plug online. You could just buy fucking a gram and shit online, pills, shit like that. Okay.
It was an opportunity.
That shit happens right now.
They could take down the biggest dark web store in the world.
Right.
Maybe he could build the next one. A better one. Not just a seller, a real brand. A real drugstore, like Amazon, but hidden on the dark web. It might have felt like a game, but Max knew better. One mistake, and the police could find him. But not this time. The police car was heading to the house party, where some of Max's classmates were getting caught with illegal goods. Max didn't look like someone who would break the law. He grew up in a normal, middle-class family. Nothing stood out, nothing strange. No one could have imagined he was about to launch a drug empire. The website felt polished.
Damn.
It didn't feel illegal. It felt professional. It looked more like Airbnb than a dark website. Before Tesla or Uber made clean design cool, Max was already using it to stand out. Then one night, he posted the link. Shiny Flakes was online. He still remembered the first one.
Who would buy this
shit? One small box, carefully packed, dropped in a mailbox like nothing special. His heart was racing. Nothing happened. No police, no questions. Just an email the next day. That's when he knew it worked. Max packed every order by hand. He made fake return addresses, then dropped them in lockers across the city. And he did it all from his parents' house. To them, he was just
how would he get these drugs though? That's what I'm saying. How?
Always on the computer. They'd hear the keyboard at night. They thought he was studying. But behind that screen, something big was growing. And this was just the beginning. One Monday morning, Max jumped out of bed with a plan. He checked his phone.
Making that bread.
One of his biggest orders was on the way. Just an hour left. Too risky for the usual pickup. So he picked a random address nearby. He threw on a hoodie, kept his head low, and walked to the building like he belonged there. With the tracking code on his phone, he waited outside, calm and casual. Right on time, the delivery guy pulled up with the box. Max stepped up with confidence.
"Hey, that's for my uncle. He isn't home right now,"
he said with a smile. He gave the address, showed the tracking screen. The courier glanced at the name, then at Max. A short nod, and that was it. No questions, just a signature. Max took the box and walked off like it was just another morning. Back home, he closed his door, sat down, and got to work. Max's business started growing fast. Every day, more orders came in, and people liked what they got. They made sure to say it. Reviews started coming in. Max wasn't just selling drugs. He was building something people actually trusted. People trusted Shiny Flakes more than their local dealer.
That's crazy.
They didn't have to meet anyone. They
like
didn't have to leave their house. No risk, no awkward deals. It came in the mail, like a regular package. Always on time, sealed like a birthday gift. For buyers, it felt safe. For Max, it felt smart. And once someone tried it, they usually came back. That growing demand pushed Max to scale up. He started buying in bulk, breaking everything down into smaller amounts. He even tested the packaging himself, shaking it, squeezing it, checking how much noise it made. He swapped out loud bags for quieter ones, tried different types of tape, reprinted labels if the corners didn't stick right. Max knew one sloppy mistake could bring it all down. So
he had to have been white.
Didn't allow any. He sat at a small desk for hours, packing up to 50 orders a day, sometimes more. It became a system.
I want to know how much money this nigga was bringing. They're probably going to say it, right?
Coin. Max packs the order, drops it off using regular mail, like Deutsche Post or DHL. And Max followed his own strict rules. Never ship from the same place twice in one day. Always double check the packaging before it goes out. Soon, orders were coming from all over the world. Europe, North America, even parts of Asia. And one time, even Colombia. That one actually made Max laugh. A country known for exporting drugs, now ordering from a teenager in Germany.
Insane.
Max was only 18 and running a full-on drug empire, like a one-man machine. That's when he realized this wasn't small anymore. But it was only a matter of time before the police
you have to know
noticed.
your day's coming.
Across Germany, police started noticing something strange. In cities across the country, people were getting caught with bags of pills. In clubs, People collapsed, some overdosed. One was rushed to the hospital. One didn't make it. Even in school bathrooms, pills were passed around like candy. The substances were everywhere, but no one knew where they were coming from. After Silk Road got taken down, police hoped things would slow down. But deep down, they knew someone new would take over. And now, the drugs weren't just in Germany.
They're in the
They
US.
were spreading across Europe. Everything looked the same. Clean packaging, printed labels, same pills.
I wonder what the pills
Police
were.
knew it couldn't be a
Probably
coincidence.
oxys or Xanax, probably.
They didn't know who was behind it, but they knew it all came from the same source.
That's crazy.
Bit by bit, they closed in. Then one day, a suspicious package showed up at the mail center. It looked like a piece of something much bigger. Not long after, police were chasing someone through the streets, a man who came to pick up that exact package. Meanwhile, Max was in his room, packing orders like
For
it
the
was no
next
big
one.
deal.
With the
Inside
scale.
every package, he added something special. Gummy bears. Yeah, gummy bears. It made the whole thing feel weirdly personal, and people loved it.
That's so tough, though. Think about that. So he's packaging the gummy bears because that's like part of his like brand. So that's how you know it's authentic. That's tough.
Hundreds of reviews poured in, all praising the service. While other dealers were sloppy or
That's
slow,
crazy.
Max was fast, reliable, efficient. He ran his shop like a real CEO, even scoring better suppliers than some cartels. No shady middlemen, no unnecessary steps. He went straight to the source, suppliers in the Netherlands and Belgium. Both countries are known for producing some of Europe's strongest synthetic drugs.
That's bad,
And
though.
ports like Rotterdam and Antwerp, they've become major gateways for smuggling into Europe. Every day, massive shipping containers arrive from
How
South
would he
America.
get that stuff, though?
Some hide drugs, smuggled in clever, almost invisible ways. In 2023, police found 116 tons of cocaine hidden in
Damn.
banana boxes at the port of Antwerp, a new record. But not all of it came from far away. Some were made much closer to home. In
Ugh.
recent years, Dutch
Meth
police
lab?
have busted hundreds of secret drug labs across the country. They're usually out of sight in quiet places.
Like GTA.
Since they're made in Europe, shipping is fast and cheap. Max knew this. With all that, Max's operation exploded. At one point, he was shipping nearly 100 orders every single day, packed by
Money.
hand, sent through regular mail. Some people ordered just to see what kind of packaging he'd come up with next. At times, it felt less like a drug shop and
More
more
like
like a
a-
fan club.
Yeah,
But
that's
the bigger
tough.
it got, the more eyes were watching.
That's low-key tough. Y'all
And
know
that
it is.
brings us to the chase. Right after a man showed up to pick up his Shiny Flakes package, he took off running through the streets. He kept looking back as he ran full speed, thinking he'd lost them. But the police were still right behind him, closing in. He ran fast, jumped fences, but the police didn't stop chasing. Sirens echoed through the streets as the hunt continued. After a long chase, they finally caught him.
He's gonna talk
On
too.
the ground, out of breath, it was over. But for the police, this wasn't just a win. They knew this could bring them one step closer to whoever was behind it all. They asked where the package came from, but he said nothing, not a word. He wasn't a dealer, not a big player, just a random guy who ordered drugs for himself. So the police searched his home, top to bottom. They checked everything: drawers, bags, his computer, even his phone. And then they found something. Messages, tracking codes, photos, and links, all pointing to one strange website.
Shiny
That's
Flakes.
when the police first heard the name, Shiny Flakes. Until then, they had no idea it existed. Now, they had their first real clue.
I want to
They
see what he
knew
looks
the
like.
site was real. They knew someone in Germany was behind it. They didn't move right away. They first needed more proof. So they watched and waited. Every day, more packages were being shipped out. At first, Max had no idea the police were closing in. He was still making money. Lots of it. But
Shit.
something didn't feel right. He started to notice strange things. Friends on the dark web started disappearing.
I assume they had been watching him for a long time. Who were the other people? Was the guy who drove across Germany for us one of them? Custody for one day and then let him go. Maybe as bait. Maybe the cops will lay off now because they think they have the main suspect in custody. No. Maybe not. Hell no.
Their accounts went dark. Max sent them messages. No reply. Hours later, someone else reached out.
Damn, the same person.
Max knew this was bad. More people were vanishing from the web. More dealers, more buyers. It felt like everyone was disappearing. He messaged one more friend. Then even Dummes Schwein went silent. Max was still selling, still making money, but something had clearly changed. No more chats, no more updates. He knew now. He had to be extra careful. Police had been watching the dark web for months. Weird packages kept showing up across Europe. They didn't know who was behind it, but little clues started to appear. Each time they caught someone picking up a package, they asked questions. Most said nothing, but a few gave small pieces of the puzzle away. Slowly, the picture started coming.
It's probably because they didn't say anything because they probably think I would have thought he's like part of the cartel or some shit.
Most of the packages pointed back to one city, Leipzig, a quiet city, nothing suspicious on the surface, but something big was hiding in plain sight. So police narrowed their focus. They started watching shipping centers, checked camera footage, mapped out the drop-offs. The pattern was clear. Then one day, everything clicked. All the pieces lined up, pointing to one place. It was time to move in on Leipzig.
His address?
The city looked quiet from the outside, but inside one apartment, a teenager was running shiny flakes like a machine.
This
He
nigga was
knew
like
the
a
risks,
GTA.
but he wasn't worried. He had dozens of crypto wallets hidden in different places. If things went bad, he could vanish. But Max didn't want to disappear. He wanted to grow. So he started planning something bigger. Maybe a warehouse, maybe employees, a full operation, a real company hidden in the shadows. Just like Gus Fring or Heisenberg in Breaking Bad, but real.
Imagine.
Sometimes at night, he read the news. He saw other dealers getting caught. But Max didn't compare himself to them. He saw himself as a young Walter White. He wouldn't make the same mistakes. But the truth was, the walls were already closing in. He just couldn't feel them yet. To him, it was just another morning. He had no idea it would all end today. Nothing seemed different. Nothing felt wrong. But outside, the trap was already set. Police had been planning for weeks, and now it was time. They had his name, his address, and now they were ready to move. But how did they figure it out?
Yeah.
After Red Bull, one of Max's partners,
He spoke.
got caught, police found a locker address in Leipzig. From there, they watched every package station in the city until one face showed up again and again. That's how they found him. Before sunrise, a team in black gathered near Max's house. They wore bulletproof vests and brought dogs. And they moved in silence. They couldn't risk Max deleting anything or getting away. Inside, Max was in his pajamas. His computer had just started up. One officer stepped forward with a black battering ram, a steel tool made to break down doors in seconds. The team held their breath. Everything had led to this moment. The first hit cracked the frame. On the second hit, the door flew open. Officers rushed inside.
Police, get on the ground!
Before he could move, they had him. They handcuffed him and took him away. But the real target was his room. At first, it looked like any other room, until they took a closer look. Stacks of shipping labels, envelopes, fake names, fake return addresses, rolls of stamps, boxes filled with pills. Another box packed with gummy bears. In the closet, even more packages, all packed and ready to ship. On the desk, his laptop still open. And on the screen, the Shiny Flakes homepage still live. It was all there. His entire drug empire hidden in plain sight. Police couldn't believe what they were looking at.
Damn.
They took everything.
This is good.
His laptop, phones, USB drives, packaging tools, 48,000 euros in cash, and 341 kilos of drugs. He barely even left the house.
750
From just that bedroom, he made over 4 million euros. But what did he actually do with all that money? Well, almost nothing. He didn't live like a millionaire. No supercars, no parties, no designer clothes. Most of the money just sat there, in crypto wallets and stacks of cash.
Saving that
So
shit.
why would someone so young take that risk? Why build something so illegal just to never spend the money? In real life, Max was quiet, just another kid behind a computer screen. But online, he was something else. A boss, a mastermind. He didn't just sell drugs, he built a system.
That's
Maybe that's
tough.
what it was about. The challenge.
I want to see what
The
he really
power.
looks like.
He was taken to the station. Outside, no one had heard about the raid. Not yet. But soon, the world would know. Everyone thought this was the end of the story. The website was gone, the police had everything, and Max was in jail. Case closed. Right? Well, not exactly. In court, Max got 7 years in youth custody.
That's it?
Most people thought he'd disappear after that. But then, something strange
Don't tell me this
happened.
nigga went right back to
2
it.
years later, he was arrested again. The police found a storage room with 17 large boxes, full of illegal drugs. It looked exactly like Shiny Flakes, all over again. The numbers were serious. 16.5 kilos of amphetamines, 2.5 kilos of hashish, 500 grams of meth, 350 grams of cocaine. 2 older men helped him. One handled the shipping, the other helped with legal things. But was Max even behind it? Shiny Flakes was run from his childhood bedroom. Candy Love, on the other hand, operated out of a
Candy
small
Love?
student apartment in Leipzig. Same system, same silence, just a new location in the same city. People online started talking again. The trial took 2 years. Max stayed in prison the whole time, waiting for the final decision. He was accused of helping run the site and building the system.
He probably got
behind
a
it.
lot now.
In the end, the court gave him 4.5 years.
That's it?
But the story didn't stop there. Germany's highest court stepped in. They said something important was missing, so the court ordered a new trial. And until that happens,
That's a Rico.
Max is free. But then someone noticed a new site on a dark web forum. Same clean layout, sharp photos. It
Max.
felt familiar. Was it Max again? Or just someone copying his style? No one
Probably.
really knows. And maybe we'll never find out. If you want more stories like this,
Yo, that was great. That dude was like ahead of his time. That's like drop shipping, bro. But with drugs. Like, what the fuck? I want to see what he really looks like before we end this. If they even showed it. Because they didn't. That would be a Rico in the US. Max. What is it called? Shiny Flakes. Oh, shit. This is him. He looks like a. He looks, bro. This nigga looks like a nerd. But hey, he's smart as hell. What do y'all think about that, man? That shit was crazy. Informative as hell.